probably have Sam's Club or Costco or whatever. So my friend was like, do you want to go to BJ's and use my membership? So I was like, yeah, lit, cool, whatever. Christine, which is Chris's mom, texted me and said, you know, she wanted to see Lux. So I had told her she can come to my house and see him. And because I was going to go to BJ's or whatever, she gets here and then I was like literally leaving for BJ's. So I was like, if you want, you can just take him to your house. And since BJ's is near your house, I'll just pick him up on my way when I'm done grocery shopping.
Makes sense.
I did not know that Chris was going to be there. This was not a scheduled visitation visit. That's not what this was. This was a visit that I allowed Christine, which is Chris's mom, I allowed her to have because she asked. Chris has never texted me for I honestly cannot tell you the last time he actually texted me for his children. So but I have not denied his mom, and his sister had actually been texting me lately and like asking to come see the kids or whatever, and I don't deny them. So I just wanted to preface this with that. So my truck is full, and I'm not letting the baby stay with a babysitter or go with Christine or go with anybody. So I did have the baby with me, and just like my trunk is packed. I have the stroller on top of the groceries in the back and whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I text her, I say, hey, I'm on my way, I'm leaving BJ's. So in the event that Chris was there, he is not allowed to be within 100 yards of me. Therefore, when I text you that I'm on my way, Chris should not have been there. Prefacing with that as well. Get there. So excited to see Lux, whatever. He runs up to me, hug him, put him in the car, and his hair is behind his shoulders. And because it is so long, I don't think anything of it. Don't even think to look at his hair. Which
yeah, that's
is
not
actually,
a first thought. Like,
no, and it's behind his shoulders. So like, I just didn't even notice. I was like, okay, like whatever. Christine kisses him and says, you know, I'll text you in a couple days, which she always does. Now, let me also say that last week, I had a dream that Lux had dreads, long dreads, and Chris cut them off. I swear to you, I told one of my friends, and I told my friend's son, Caden, who helps, like he helps babysit a lot. I told them, I woke up and I was like, I had the weirdest dream. Fast forward to Friday. We put him in the car, and Caden and his mom were actually with me because we all went to BJ's. I used her membership, blah, blah, blah. And he put him in the back seat. Caden is strapping him in for me and is like, KAIL, he cut his hair. And I said, what? I look back and he said, KAIL, he cut his hair. I don't think I've ever been out of character the way that I was in that moment. Like, I lost my fucking mind. Like, lost my fucking mind. And I've been working so hard in therapy at not reacting. Like, I don't know if you guys know, like Brianna and Janelle make comments at me pretty often for like the reality TV social media world. Like they do. Definitely. They'll comment on things that don't pertain to them or have something to do with me, and they'll comment on it. And I truly, the last couple times I really have stayed quiet because I feel better when I don't respond. And that also goes for Chris. Like, I truly feel better when I do not react and I don't respond, but it is so fucking hard. It is so hard. I reacted, and you know, I am not super proud of it, but it is what it is. And I'm blown away, I guess, because yes, while I do understand that Chris is Lux's father, Chris is not an active person in Lux's life. Chris sees Lux twice a month because he doesn't ask. The only time that he sees Lux is when his mom asks for Lux. That is the only time. So you see your son a couple hours a month, and you do this shit, and then furthermore, I'm upset too because then he gets on Instagram Live and says, "Oh, he should have scalped. He's lucky. I'm lucky he didn't scalp him."
Yeah, somebody sent me the screenshots of that, but I was so confused. And he's laughing,
and he thinks it's funny. He thinks it's a joke, and he says that his sister helped him and watched and told him it was even. Okay, well, my other problem with that is the fact that I feel like this is someone who I have allowed in my house several times over the last few weeks because I don't deny my kids or their family, their dad's side. I really don't. So this is someone who's, you know, sat in my face, been nice to me, and you're going behind my back, and you never thought, oh, Chris, maybe you should ask KAIL about that. Maybe you should call KAIL. Now, he does go on Instagram Live and say, oh, this isn't his first haircut, la-di-da-di-da. Yes, it is his first haircut. A taper and a haircut are two different things. So to me, shaping up his little like sideburns is nowhere near the same. You couldn't even tell because his hair falls over it. I just did it because it like cleaned it up a little bit. He claims that his hairline is fucked up. No, his hairline, the top of his hairline wasn't even touched. Like the line across your forehead,
but
that wasn't even touched at all.
What does that have to do with cutting the
with
bottom?
Cutting his hair? Exactly. And then he says, "Oh, I just trimmed the edges like a little inch." He literally cut half of his hair off. It's almost up to his shoulders now, and it was down to his butt.
But all the curls are gone.
Oh, they're all gone. All of them. And the fact that he bribed my son with the haircut. Oh, Aquaman gets his haircut. Really? Because I've never seen a clip in the movie of Aquaman getting his haircut. So I ask my son on a regular basis, do you want your haircut? And the answer is always no. My son does not want his haircut. If my son said, he's 3 and he's very vocal about everything, so I'm like, if you want your haircut, we'll go cut your hair. But I feel like his first hair, like significant haircut, like where it's actual inches off and we're changing the look, I would text Chris and I would have been like, hey, you know, Lux is wanting his haircut. We should probably plan this. But instead, he decided to do it behind my back. So now Chris wrote a letter of some sort. Don't know what it said because I didn't fucking read it. Once I realized that his hair was cut off, after his mom had handed me the letter, I threw it at him. Someone told me that I guess some of Lux's hair was folded up in the letter. I don't know how true that is. Mm-hmm. This is someone that doesn't have any type of custody. So until a judge makes me, I do not trust him, especially with the threats of like shaving it off. Oh, you're lucky I didn't scalp him. Like, who the fuck says that?
I have a couple of things that I want to point out. So as much as your older boys dick around with their hair and like get it cut and you're always at the barber shop or whatever, I feel like if Lux had the feeling of wanting to get his hair cut, then you would be the first person to know because he would be asking while he's there with you getting the other boys' haircuts. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I also received messages about this because anytime something crazy goes on in your life, because of the podcast, I get a million messages about it as if, one, I'm not going to respond. And I want people to very clearly understand that. Like, I'm not avoiding something, but I'm also not going to respond because, one, it's not my business. And two, even if I know the answer to it, again, it's not my business. So unless KAIL says it, then you're not going to hear it from me. The third thing that I would like to point out is that somebody had sent me a message saying, I don't understand. He's the father. I guess because I had posted on my Instagram story because I had received so many messages about it that I just wanted to address that it would be covered on the podcast this week. And that when Will and I separated, Jackson also had like the little curls in the back of his hair, and his hair was never like as long as Lux's, but it did touch like the back of his neck and curled up. And I was devastated even when he and I took him to get his hair cut for the first time because it cut all the curls off, and I literally just sat at the hair place and just was like a total wreck. And so for somebody to say, well, you know, he's as much his parent as the other, like, no, you don't understand the situation. And furthermore, as a mother, I don't know, like, just the way I feel about it is that's your little baby, and that's the hair that they've had on their head since birth. So it's like, it's a big deal, and it's not something just very small and something that shouldn't be discussed, or something that I know you as a person, that if Chris came to you and said, you know, I've had conversations with Lux and I want to get his hair cut, can we talk about this? I feel like you would be very open to having the conversation, and maybe you guys talking with Lux together and doing that as like something together so you could both experience it. But I just don't feel that it's fair, knowing what I know about the situation, that one, he's supposed to be being supervised when he has Lux. So
well, that was another thing, was that even though I didn't know that Chris was going to be there, or that, you know, whatever, Chris only has supervised visits. So the fact that he wasn't being supervised, and then somebody that I felt like I could trust enough to come here and see Lux would then encourage and or not say shit to Chris about, you know, maybe you should reach out to, and maybe she did, but on Instagram Live, he said, oh, my little sister was right there and she told me it was even and she said it looked fine, is like, now you just incriminated someone else. Like now, and I said on the way out, I said, don't ever reach out to me about him. Like until a judge tells me that I do not have a choice. I mean, we're talking about someone who wanted to sign off his rights. And then I read the comments and I see what you guys say about going back to him and having another child with him. And I get it. But unless you are in a relationship with a narcissist and have low self-esteem, which I have had for a long time, you can't understand it. You can't understand the abuse, the trauma, the grooming, the all of that. It's literally like, I would compare it to Stockholm syndrome. So to me, it unfortunately took taking 2 kids with this man to realize the type of person he is. And the fact that the behavior is getting worse is absolutely mind-blowing to me. I couldn't have imagined that he was a narcissist before all of this. Like, I truly couldn't. And now I'm
to scalp him, I'm so confused by
terrifying.
That too. Like,
maybe he doesn't know what scalping means. Like, maybe he truly doesn't know.
Like, is he going to take a razor to his head? Because we're all confused. Like, what does he mean by scalping, and why would that even be a thought?
I don't know. He must not know what that means. That's literally the only thing that I can think of.